Progress.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our space with Sun and Moon Yoga Studio, and here in my home, and we're in each other's homes in the Zoom way. I had made an adjustment, so I think, and tested it with Steve just before we started, so maybe you'll hear the bell. Today, like the other times we meet, I'm so grateful for your joining me. There's something very special in community. The Sangha, as the Sanskrit word calls it. The being together, but it's something about this word is interesting, but it's something about witnessing together, that we witness each other's presence. With that word, I will read to you 2 poems today. I can send them to you afterward, or I'll also post them on my YouTube page with the video there. I should have seen, is there any announcements for Sun and Moon? I didn't look them up, so you have to just check the website yourself. Oh, I guess the last day of class would be important for us. We have next week and then the following, I guess the 14th and the 21st. I'm not quite sure which day is the last day of classes, but it might be the 23rd. So check the website. So wintry themes, it's getting cooler here. The last few weeks have been quite cool in Northern Virginia. And again, this idea of witnessing and listening is close to me today. This poem is by William Stafford, who lived from 1914 to 1993, entitled Ask Me. Sometime when the river is ice, ask me mistakes I have made. Ask me whether what I have done is my life. Others have come in their slow way into my thought, and some have tried to help or to hurt. Ask me what difference their strongest love or hate has made. I will listen to what you say. You and I can turn and look at the silent river and wait. We know the current is there, hidden, and there are comings and goings from miles away that hold the stillness exactly before us. What the river says, that is what I say. So it's very possible that just the listening that we've just done together has already brought us to a little bit more to center, to ground, to presence. In the near future, my movement part will be on hands and knees. I will offer an option, a different option from lying on your back. So just have that in mind as you choose. Do you want to stay seated right now for our centering? Then we'll move into, maybe we'll do the meditation and then the movement. That seems to be working lately. But choose that you want to stay seated now, or to lie down, or a different seated position. And And the feel of the poem still kind of echoing within us. That listening, that reflecting of our lives and what is our life about, what we do or something else. And someone with us, witnessing, listening, looking. And then we might add the feel of the ground, the parts of the body that are touching what's beneath us. The very specific feel of perhaps the sides of your feet and legs if you're sitting on the ground cross-legged or in a kneeling position. Or the back body if you're laying down. Different at the hip, different at the shoulder, different at the lower ribs. Just lightly scanning the topography of your body as it meets what carpet or cushions or floor or blankets, whatever is underneath you. And then even if you are in a reclining position, so we feel the gravity, it's the feel of gravity that allows us, or the force of gravity that allows us to have this contact with the ground, to feel our own body constitution, the mass, the various parts, the cells, the bones, the blood, the nervous system, the knowing. That was a jump in order. The knowing is something not tangible, but somehow married with the nerve cells, the perception, the chemistry. So the gravity drawing downward from sky up, from up above way in the sky down to the center of the earth. Along this axis, again, even if you're lying down, imagine the rebound upward, the buoyancy. This force field of gravity that helps us to be upright. This was totally unplanned, but I'm feeling this urge to take my arms upward, even my gaze upward. You might join me or just imagine it if you like, and down, and just a few movements like this while still sensing body firmly on the ground. And we so often do this kind of movement in yoga, this upward, affirming our presence along this vertical dimension. And perhaps the breathing is becoming evident now too. I always think of the breathing, or it jogs me to the breathing when I think of the buoyancy part of this equation. If you like, you might keep your arms upward, your gaze upward a bit for a few breaths. And at the same time, we're feeling this vertical dimension, ground and sky. And we're feeling our breath. And we're feeling, at the same time, the space around, the sound. brings us to listening. So even as we bring ourselves in a way to more and more stillness and silence and a kind of emptiness that's ready, can receive the more that is here, as one of my teachers used to say, but also what's coming, like what the river, the miles of river they're coming underneath the frozenness of it, and it's holding it right here in this spot for us to witness. And here in this presence, I'll segue us right into the stillness and silence of meditation now, and probably for about 8 minutes. And so make any adjustment you might need to really commit to stillness. Which again, that same teacher, Eric Schiffman, he had a phrase, I think it was, be still without holding yourself still. For me, this phrase was a little of a koan. My friend and teacher, Jackie, she loved this phrase right off the bat. I find it a little perplexing, like I need to look into it a little bit. But what I get from it, you know what, I'll hold my own interpretation. You take yours and see how it might help you in the stillness of meditation. Just like the frozen river, even ice, I believe if we examine it at a certain microscopic level, there is some kind of molecular or atomic movement. And in our stillness of meditation, things come to us like sound, thought or a little relaxation in the body. About another minute together in this stillness. As always, it's your choice how you choose to practice, even as I give guidance in a very specific way. So as we end the practice, you might choose to continue sitting if that's really drawing you. I'll mark the end of the meditation practice with a bow. And you might join me and then slowly transition to the hands and knees position that I was foretold. And you might just get in child's pose, well, if that's, and then you could also be on your back, so that's fine as well. On your back, however it's comfortable. And on hands and knees, you want to make sure some wrists are comfortable, so often leaning a little bit more into the thumb side of the hand is helpful. Sometimes making fists can help some of us. Knees a little bit apart. And just slowly move. I'll give the instructions from the back in a moment. Slowly move the hips back toward child's position, bowing your head, coming back up to table pose. Fingers spread out, leaning into the thumb side. And if you're on your back, you might have figured it out. You can draw your knees close into your chest and then move them a little further away from you. And take it at your own pace. Breathe, perhaps exhaling as you go back and inhaling as you come up. Perhaps staying in the child's pose a little bit. Perhaps playing with rounding the spine a bit more as you go back. And then maybe arching a bit to where the back body gets concave in the middle, looking up as you come up. And again, feel free to stay back in child's position this next time if you like. As the next time will come up in just a moment. We'll reposition our legs a little bit so that one knee comes just an inch forward. So in actuality, I think it's such a small amount. So maybe it's actually, yeah, I did about an inch. It might be 2 inches, but really it's a very small amount, and you'll see if you need to adjust it to be even smaller when we start this. So now the legs are asymmetric, and same thing, if you're on your back, just let one knee be a little more away from you, another a little closer, so just about an inch difference. And the same movement. Go back and you'll notice it feels quite different. I actually haven't ever done this one on my back, so I'm not sure how different it feels on the back that way. But it should feel a little different. And from the table position to child's with this asymmetry in the legs, it just moves the back, the lower back, the back hips a little differently, and so gets movement into spots that we might not have gotten otherwise. And then if it's comfortable, if you like, as you take your hips back in this asymmetry of the legs, go ahead and stay in this uneven child's pose. And if you're on your back, which I'm going to try that for this next iteration. If you're on your back, to stay with the legs in close to you. It feels a little different. And then as you're ready, if you're doing the table version, come on up, back up to table, bring the legs to center, and just 1 or 2 times, just do the movement with both legs even. Tending to breath, and then make them a little uneven again. So now the other knee comes forward a little bit, just a little bit. You'll notice if it's uncomfortable or hurts when you go back, you'll want to make it less. And then this other side, ooh, and the other side feels different, doesn't it? Observing, being the witness for ourselves, accompanying ourselves together. Whole body, noticing the whole body, shoulders, arms, hands, neck, skin, digestive organs, lungs. Just letting the aperture of your attention be broad like that. And then stay back in the child's pose, the asymmetric child's pose, or on your back with knees a little askew in towards you. Holding the shape, feeling how breath illuminates, animates. And then a couple more times, just evenly. After 2 or 3 movements, staying in child's pose, or if you're on your back, you might roll to your side. And then pushing up to seated, or coming up to table and then transitioning to seated with as little disturbance as possible. Checking in now after our practices together, our stillness, our movement, our listening. Practices that clarify what's here, clarify what's permanent, what's always changing. There's something powerful about more and more identifying with the part of us that is the permanent. That same being you were 5 years ago, 50 years ago, yesterday, last year, while many changes take place. And so this season of December in the northern hemisphere, moving toward the shortest day of light, the solstice, which I've heard means still point. I heard that from a fellow teacher. So it's kind of interesting that there is a stillness of winter that comes upon us. And I think that while there are many traditions that have celebrations at this time of the year that are quite different, but all of them seem to take their root in the celebrating of when you think that there's no light in the Jewish tradition, the ancient Hebrews, that I guess their oil, that they didn't have any more oil for their lamps. I'm forgetting how that is. And there was somehow miraculously there was more oil, or there was light. The lamps were lit anyway. So even when darkness seems overcoming totally, there is that some point of light, some bit of light that then can grow. And I think in a way, this next poem I'll share with you, I believe a Zen poet from this little book that I love, what's it called? The Poetry of Impermanence, Mindfulness, and Joy. He lived from 1118 to 1190. Saigyō. Winter has withered everything in this cold mountain place. Dignity is in its desolation now, and beauty in the cold clarity of its moon. So even when everything is kind of lost dignity and desolate, there's a beauty in the clarity, the cold clarity of the moon. And so thank you again for joining us, for practicing together, for bringing clarity to each our own way. Thanks, June is writing. Thank you. I'll be reflecting on the frozen today in the park. She's up in Connecticut, so I think you'll be more frozen up there. We here in Virginia should hit in the mid-40s today. Thank you for joining. And I'll ring the bell to close our practice. The recording's available for 2 weeks, and I'm posting now, recording on my own phone to post to my YouTube page. I forget the name of it. I think it's called Yogal, something like that. I'll send it again with the poem, that link, if you'd like to watch there. See you next week.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you very much.